Hello, my name is Colette and I am a reader. So I'll be going over my quarterly stats with you. I get all of my stats information from Storygraph, which I'll have linked below. So we're just going to go ahead and hop right into it. All right, so starting off with my stats. So this is from January 1st up to March 31st. In case you don't know, if you do have Storygraph, it is a book tracking app. Um, it is a book tracking app, basically. It's kind of like Goodreads. They do have the social aspect as well. I do follow people on there. I have my friends and families on there. Um, but I love it more so for me and what I want to track when I'm reading. So I prefer to use Storygraph. It's not bashing anyone else. Do what works for you. Storygraph works best for me. I do pay for Plus. It's only $4.99 a month, 40 or $50 for the year, I think, something like that. And so with that, I'm able to do my quarterly stats, which is how I got my stats results. So again, going from January 1st to March 31st, in that time frame, I read 25 books, totaling 7,522 pages, and listened to 48.27 hours of audiobooks. And on average, it takes me about 2 days to finish a book, which, yeah, sounds about right. My top three moods when reading are adventurous, emotional, and lighthearted. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my iPad. All my stats are on here. That's where I'm getting all my information. So, um, again, top three moods are adventurous, emotional, and lighthearted. My books, the pace of the books, only 5% of them are slow, 33% are fast, and 62% are medium paced books. The number of pages, 14% of my books were over 500 pages. 43% of my books were between 300 and 499 pages, and then the other 300% were below 300 pages. My audio book length, which is the amount of time I listen to, or the average time for each book, 25% of the audiobooks that I listened to were over 16 hours. The other 25% was between 8 hours and 15 hours, 59 minutes. And then the last 50% is below 8 hours. Audiobooks I'm getting more into audiobooks. Just to give you a little FYI, I am getting into more into audiobooks, but it's typically like a weekend thing for me, or when I'm doing something like cleaning the house or cooking or whatever be the case. That works best for me, so that I'm listening to something, as I'm doing something else. But yeah, audiobooks, they're definitely creeping up there. I read 100% fiction. I know my goal this year was to read at least one or two, um, what do you call it, nonfiction, but I haven't gotten there yet. So in the first quarter, as of right now, 100% fiction. All right, getting into my genres. So my top three genres are romance, because I like romance. This is where we are. So um, romance is my top genre, followed by science fiction, and then my third is contemporary. I don't know what contemporary means. That's what it says, so that's what we're gonna go with. My format. My format says 12% of the books I've read thus far have been print, which are my physical books. Side note, I will be getting into a new series where I'm gonna take you along the journey of me reading my physical books. We're getting there. I actually have to read them. You guys know I have a lot of physical books that are on my TBR, so I definitely want to get into that. But yeah. Next up, 16% of the books I've read were via audio, and then 72% are digital, which makes sense. I'm on my Kindle 9 times out of 10. It's just easier, if I'm being honest, for me to pick up and go. The most read authors for me so far are Ursa Dax and Shae Sanders this year. And then all my books are in English. And my average rating for this first quarter was 3.91 stars. I am very, very generous with my 4-star ratings. The majority of my books are 4-star ratings, I'm not going to lie. And then I have other stuff ranging from 3 stars all the way up to 5 stars. So those are those. Again, 25 books. One book was a reread, which was Happiness in Jersey by Jacinta Howard. I love that story. I love that series. But I'm not going to go through 25 books with you because we would be here all day. So I am just going to give you my top book of each month and explain to you why I enjoyed those books. Okay, so for the month of January, my top book was The Last Man on Earth, which I talked to you all about. I did a review of that book. I love that book. I thoroughly enjoyed that book. I thought it was fantastic. If you want to see it, I'll have it linked below. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. It is a survivalist book. This follows a rapper that is going on a trip with his friends and cohorts for his bachelor party, and a flight attendant that he is absolutely attracted to. The plane ends up going down, and they are stuck on some random remote island, and they have to figure out how to survive and be with each other. Now, mind you, on the flight, they weren't the most gracious to one another, both rude, him more specifically, but they were both rude to one another. And they have to figure out life on this island. How is it, how are we surviving? How are we going to eat? Where are we going to live? What are we going to wear? All of the things. And so he figures himself out in what he likes, loves, enjoys. It gives him a reprieve from his fast-paced life, because he is a rap artist, and there's people constantly trying to follow him and the lifestyle that he lives, and whether or not he just wants to be more calm or just be happy in his life, have time for himself. And she's figuring out herself as well. She is older. I do believe it's an age gap romance, if I'm not mistaken. I think she's like 10 years older than him, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really thought this was really well written. I thought it was funny. I thought it was witty. I enjoyed their story and how it progressed. Yeah, that was my top book. The Last Man on Earth by Shae Sanders. My next book that I have, which would be for the month of February, the top book of month of February, Daggermouth by H.M. Wolfe. If you haven't been around, or if you're new here to the book world, Daggermouth has everyone in a chokehold right now. That's the new hot shit. Okay. I literally downloaded it last December. I downloaded it on December 8th. It's on Kindle Unlimited. At the time or at the release of this video, I believe it's still on Kindle Unlimited. I'm not sure, but you can double check. I gave that book 5 stars. That was my first 5-star read of the year. I thoroughly loved it. It is a dystopian dark romance. I feel a certain way about dystopian books because I read the Divergent series. I read The Hunger Games. So those books mean something to me, and I like that it's social commentary for dystopian, right? So I felt like she definitely was able to capture dystopia in her world. I believe the dark romance part of it was definitely dark, and I love that it wasn't insta-lust or insta-love. They grew from it. So I felt like her characters were well-rounded. This follows Daggermouth. A Daggermouth is a mercenary, so to speak. Shadera is a Daggermouth, and then we also have Grayson, I believe is his first name. I don't remember names, y'all. I'm not gonna hold you. 9 times out of 10, once I shut a book, everything flies out my mind. We have Shadera, who is a Daggermouth, and then we have Grayson. Shadera won a contract, or was given a contract to kill Grayson, and that is botched. And the story progresses from there. I really don't want to give too much away from it about it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to say there's a lot that goes into it, but if I tell too much, honestly, it's going to ruin it. But just know that it's not insta-lust, it's not insta-love. There is dystopian world. You're seeing the privileged use and abuse the underprivileged, right? And then you're seeing how both parties, both sides, how they're both sides of the coin. you have the privilege and what they do and how they manage people and how they treat people, and you have the underserved, the under, the community that is being attacked mostly, that gets nothing, and how they treat one another. And then when they're seeing how the other half lives, how they feel, what they do, is it so far apart from the other party, right? And I thought that was an interesting take on it, which is why I enjoyed it so much. Yes, you can root for the underdog, because we always root for the underdog, or most people root for the underdog. But what if the underdog is also partaking in things that morally isn't the best, right? So you have your morally gray characters, you have your story, your plot. I love that once sex was introduced, the plot was not lost. We could actually continue the story. That was a great part of it as well. So I would recommend it. That's one of the books I really did enjoy, Daggermouth by H.M. Wolfe. And then going into March, my top book for the month of March is Call Me Mrs. Taylor by Shae Sanders. Listen here. I don't know what be going through Shae Sanders' mind, but I appreciate it. I really do. Shae Sanders, I like I like her writing. I just discovered her this year. Call me Christopher Columbus. I just discovered her this year. I know she's been out for a while. Here we are. She knows how to intrigue you and keep you in the story, right? So Call Me Mrs. Taylor is following this little crazy girl who is stalking this man. And you know what? It's You. Have you seen You on Netflix? Okay? You. Stalking this man, she gets into his world, she gets into his orbit, they end up getting together, and her mindset of how she manipulates and uses him, and then vice versa. This relationship is toxic and obsessive and um what and mentally abusive. It is a lot of things. And it also makes you think, because as I was reading, I'm like, is this how people think when they're manipulating someone or trying to manipulate someone into doing things they want them to do? I enjoyed it. It was a roller coaster of a ride. It was pretty short too. It's only 357 pages. I finished it in 2 days, because I had to work, and my work gets in the middle of me doing what I want to do, which is read. But I enjoyed it. I felt like this was something out of the norm for me. So maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much. You may read it and think, no, this is not it. I'm not what do you call it? Dark romance, obsessive, stalkerish type of person. That's not my shtick. So this book for me was top tier. I rated it 4.75 stars. I thought it was fantastic. And you're just following them. I know there's a second book to it. I don't care to read a second book. The only reason it didn't get a 5 stars is because of the ending, and it's not because it's a bad ending. It's just it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. So that's a me thing, not it's a bad ending thing, if that makes sense. Right? All right. So those are my stats for the first quarter of the year. Let me know below. What are your reading goals? What were your stats? What did you read? What were your top books of January, February, March, or even for the first quarter? And let me know if you read any of these books as well. As well, always, I'm going to link my Pero Como podcast page as well, which is the other book channel that I have with my best friend. And then follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.